Good evening and welcome to the Channel Studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. US Secretary of State Antony Blinken has said China's possible involvement in Afghanistan could be a positive thing.
A willingness to engage meaningfully in the peace process. I think that
Mr. Blinken said this was if China was looking towards a peaceful resolution of the conflict and a truly representative and inclusive government. His comments came after Taliban representatives visited China. China said it saw the Taliban playing an important role in the peace process and the rebuilding of Afghanistan. 9 Taliban representatives had on Wednesday travelled to Tianjin for the talks. Turkish authorities have launched an investigation into a massive forest fire that has spread in southern Turkey.
Geniş bir alanda süren yangının en kısa zamanda
President Recep Tayyip Erdogan said his government hoped to put out the blaze without further casualties. 3 people have died and 10 people have been trapped in one of the forest fires. Firefighters continue to battle the raging forest fires near the city of Antalya in southern Turkey for the second day in a row. Authorities reported 18 villages were evacuated to allow residents to escape the flames. Tunisian President Kais Saied has dismissed the head of the national television station and appointed a provisional replacement. Earlier, Mr. Saied sacked a large number of senior government officials. He assumed executive and judicial powers at the weekend after suspending parliament and removing the prime minister. The president's opponents have accused him of staging a coup, but he insists that he acted within his powers at a time of crisis. Burundi has agreed to receive COVID jabs, but the government says it will not urge people to get vaccinated. That's according to the health minister. The government said the vaccines were proposed by the World Bank, and they made the decision to welcome them. However, the government will not mobilise people to be vaccinated, and only those who need it could go and seek the jab. Burundian authorities have been sceptical about the vaccines and previously said they would monitor how effective they are elsewhere before agreeing to let them in. Protesters have clashed with police in the Colombian capital Bogotá 3 months after the beginning of the national strike in the country. Bogotá's Metropolitan Police reported 6 police officers getting hurt during the protest. Colombia has seen protests against President Ivan Duque since April 2021, and some of them have ended in vandalism, roadblocks and clashes between police and protesters. They are considered the largest, longest and most violent demonstrations in the history of the country. A strong and shallow magnitude 8.2 earthquake has hit the Alaskan Peninsula, prompting tsunami warnings and heightened surveillance across the Pacific. There have been no immediate reports of damage, and the tsunami alerts were later lifted. Authorities had issued alerts for the southern parts of Alaska and Pacific coastal areas, warning residents to move to higher ground. The incident also put other Pacific countries on alert. Local media in Japan reports that the country is not at risk, although they may experience changes in their tide levels. The Ever Given container ship, which blocks the Suez Canal for nearly a week in March, has finally arrived in the Dutch port of Rotterdam. The ship grounded on March the 23rd and sealed shut one of the world's busiest waterways to then spend more than 3 months impounded by the Suez Canal Authority in a dispute over compensation with its owners. The 400-metre vessel, loaded with about 18,300 containers, took 3 weeks to make the voyage from Egypt to the Netherlands. And finally, all eyes were on British Prime Minister Boris Johnson at an official engagement as he engaged in a battle with his umbrella. Mr. Johnson struggled to control his umbrella during the unveiling of the UK Police Memorial in the Midlands to honour police officers who have died in the line of duty. Britain's Prince Charles, sitting next to Boris Johnson, was seen chuckling at the situation. And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the Channel Studios in Lagos.